All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling. We have a great show for you today lined up. On tap today, we're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite review. It's a pretty decent, awesome episode. Then we're going to talk about some Thursday Night Wrestling preview, obviously, step into the world of TNA Impact and the Ring of Honor. In our third segment, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about TNA Bound for Glory. It's their biggest pay-per-view of the year, kind of like WrestleMania for the WWE. We're going to talk about some of the match cards that have already been confirmed, starting to stir up the media in terms of professional wrestling. A lot of fans, especially, in terms of, NXT, TNA, since their latest collaboration has been a super success. Obviously, ticket sales have been through the roof, 1,010%. So can't wait to dive into that. We're also going to talk about Bill Goldberg's plans for the WWE. Me personally, I'm not a huge Bill Goldberg kind of guy, but we're just gonna, kind of, conspiracy theorize around it and just talk about, the possibilities. In our fifth and final segment, we're going to go ahead and talk about WrestleMania. We're going to talk about WrestleMania 40 run recently in an interview with Cody Rhodes. He has, obviously, saving kayfabe, saving face, not really alluding to anything and necessarily not really, giving fans an idea of the blockbuster main event that's going to be planned for Las Vegas in April. So, we're going to talk about that as well. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling, or just something even absolutely dying to get off your chest. We at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears. The show is all about keeping the conversation going, making sure you guys' voice is part of the mix, making sure that you guys feel absolutely comfortable dropping whatever you guys have to say inside that thought, chat box or whatever. And if you really want to make sure that your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? Hit the $sign below that chat box. Whatever you send in, that message will be talked about. If it's juicy enough, will be debated about in the world of professional wrestling. We can also, it's a great way to support the channel, great way to support the GSMC Sports Network. Obviously, 1,010%. We have a bunch of gifted, passionate sports fans running podcasts that have one thing in mind is bringing you guys the latest breaking news, all the hottest content surrounding the world of professional sports. So make sure you guys, make sure that you guys keep this content that you love coming at you guys Monday through Friday. We are absolutely, obviously, thanks in advance. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network daily. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's go ahead and keep that party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Of course, at the super chat, obviously not your thing. It's all good. You can still hit up the gsmcpodcast.net, hit up tips and donations link, and just, tell me how you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Also, just remember to Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. Criticism is all part of the game. Feedback is a gift. So whatever you feel like inside that chat box, go ahead and, just go ahead and send it. Definitely love a lot of audience engagement. Makes a lot of, makes the podcast run a lot smoother. It's not just me, yelling in the mic for an hour straight, because believe me, I know how, how my voice can get annoying as well. So let's go and dive on into our first segment. We got AEW Dynamite. Overall, it was a good episode. I thought, from the beginning, you had Jon Moxley come out talking about how everything he's done has been for the greater good. Obviously, running an absolute muck all over AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, you name it. Talking about, getting, injuring and having the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, take a step away from AEW. Also, at the beginning of the show, you saw a welcoming party getting ready for Jon Moxley and company. Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, also, the Bastard Pack. So that was, kind of creates a little bit of realism. A lot of people, kind of gives me like a WCW feel, which I feel like, obviously comparing All Elite Wrestling to World Championship Wrestling has kind of been, taboo in terms of, media surrounding the world of professional wrestling. But, I feel like at this point it's kind of inevitable. You had Turner Television, they bought WCW from the Crockett Promotions. And, now you have everything going down with Tony Khan, the deal with HBO Max, bringing Fox Sports, Latin America into the mix as well. Obviously, big news for the CMLL, also New Japan Professional Wrestling. So, definitely a lot of good things coming AEW's way. Hangman Adam Page kicked off AEW Dynamite, and he was attacked by Colton Gunn of the Young Guns. Switchblade Jay White came off, and of course, chased Hangman Adam Page out of there. This is a pretty awesome feud. I like the fact that although Hangman Adam Page did pick up the L at Wrestle Dream, Jay White obviously has a really good record against the Hangman. But it's just building things up. It's been building things up for quite some time. Obviously, heading toward AEW Full Gear, their next premium live event. This match is going to happen. This match honestly kind of has to happen. Um, Jay White, the more or less the future of all elite wrestling, just like Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Um, but ultimately, this is going to lead for great things for Hangman Adam Page as well as Jay White. So I can't wait to see, how that further exempts the storylines in terms of, AEW. Next, we have Sammy Guevara taking on Shelton Benjamin, finally in Shelton Benjamin's second debut inside the ring of AEW. He's able to actually take on, a pretty worthy competitor. Sammy Guevara has been, he's been in talks with talking with WWE NXT. He was, kind of a hot topic on the market, 1,010%. He was a free agent that every wrestling promotion was like, you know what, we can definitely, we can sign this guy to a decent deal. He's made it, clear in a bunch of interviews that he's absolutely not about the money. So you can get him for a steal. You can get him for like a nice little bargain price. And this kid is young. He's electric. He's absolutely elusive. He has a great arsenal attack as well as a tech. He's a tactician inside the ring, and he can bust out a nice submission once in a while. So this guy obviously has all the pages in the book in becoming a professional wrestler that's going to be, remembered for, years and years and years. So, but Sammy Guevara, his choice in staying with AEW, I didn't really take this loss much like a slap in the face as in terms of other wrestling news media. Like I've read a couple of articles saying that Sammy Guevara was kind of did dirty, Shelton Benjamin, just there to promote this new idea of the Hurt Business with MVP. And eventually you saw Bobby Lashley being signed by All Elite Wrestling as well. So, but necessarily you know, I don't agree with that. I feel like he's going to get another shot. He's still doing his thing right now. He's still the Ring of Honor, television champion. I believe he's the Ring of Honor six-man champion, and he's the tag team champion with Dustin Rhodes. So definitely a lot of great things coming to the future of this young superstar. But in terms of the her business, Shelton Benjamin put on he put on a clinic. It was a great match. It was a great match. It had kind of a familiar finish. I don't know if any of you guys remember the Monday Night Raw theme song from like 2009 to late 2010, where you had Shawn Michaels hit a super kick off of a jumping off the top rope. You had Shelton Benjamin coming in for the attack, and Shawn Michaels hitting that sweet chin music. The match finished up like that. I thought it was kind of funny. Definitely. I know I'm a wrestling dork for kind of noticing things like that, but I thought that was kind of ironic. I thought that was pretty cool. Next, we have Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher comes out and talks absolute trash about Will Ospreay, the former AEW International Champion. Obviously, Ospreay lost his title at AEW Wrestling Dream because of Kyle Fletcher. Without a doubt. Kind of none to say the least. The Don Callis family. With the addition of Lance Archer, the addition of the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion Brian Cage. These guys are the real deal. So obviously, it's going to be it's about time that they finally got their faction on the map. It's been kind of short due. Like I feel like they've because before they recently added, CMLL's Roosh, which is, he's a dominant superstar. He's great, nevertheless. Like, don't get me wrong, but he just doesn't have that spark. He never really had that spark. He can never really carry the brand. Like when people turn on television to watch professional wrestling and they see Roosh, it's not like, oh my god, like I'm saying, I'm so happy, like you know what I mean. But ultimately, Kyle Fletcher turning heel against Will Ospreay. It needed to be done. He went full heel. He went full heel. He even brought up the fact that, the fans, he was trash talking to fans, saying that I'm stuck in this arena with these inbred Americans. Obviously, from the Australian descent of Kyle Fletcher. And he basically was talking about Will Ospreay's history of how he stabbed people in the back to further his career. Like he was talking about Kazuchika Okada of New Japan Professional Wrestling. He was saying how he took Ospreay under his wing. Ospreay stabbed him in the back. And, basically setting up this storyline, basically explaining his actions and his motives is exactly the lessons that he's learned under Will Ospreay while he was with the Don Callis family, while he was with the United Empire. So, definitely thought it was kind of crazy. And then absolutely at the end of the thing, at the end of the promo, which I got to be honest, before he started shaving his head, I gotta be honest, it was dragging on quite a bit. It was really dragging on quite a bit. Even some of the fans were, saying, shut the F up. And of course, it got a little, got a little crazy, but obviously that's what AEW is kind of known for, having that edgier kind of content out there as well. So all in all, AEW was, like I said, it was a I feel like it was a great episode. A lot of notable moments, of course. We're going to talk about we had Mark Briscoe sadly loses his Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship against the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho. It was upsetting because I've recently become a huge Mark Briscoe fan. Every single time I thought he was going to drop the title against Kyle Fletcher, against Roderick Strong, he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong that, the things that he does inside the ring definitely makes me think that, that he's a superstar, and he had a terrific run. So that's really all I can say about it. Obviously, you saw Big Bill of the Learning Tree get involved. Obviously, we knew that there was going to be some outside interference to kind of help dictate the outcome of this match, and and then it happened. And then we saw House of Black basically in a smash spot, proved that they were great. Queen Aminata once again, proven that she can also be a great wrestler as well. I know I was super high on this match. Heading toward AEW, Camille was able to defeat Queen Aminata. Obviously, Mercedes Moné getting involved doesn't really help. And then you saw the Elite taking on Daniel Garcia and Private Party. Garcia and Private Party once again defeats the Young Bucks, and I being brutally honest, like I said, I feel like the Young Bucks during this booking, in terms of all elite professional wrestling, the booking is bad. I don't like it. It's diminishing the value of the Young Bucks, all the legacy that they've ever built in the independent wrestling circuit, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, you name it. It's all gone. It's all gone basically because of this botched storyline. That just proves how pivotal wrestling creative officers could possibly be, why you should hire innovative, how you should hire professional, how you should hire cutting edge writers that are always ready to kind of initiate something different. Because if you have the same product spitting out over and over and over again, have you ever heard of reruns on terms of television? That's exactly what you're getting in terms of bookings for this whole elite thing and the Young Bucks. I feel like it kind of has to come to an end. But overall, like I said, I loved AEW. AEW Dynamite. I thought it was pretty cool. So overall, like I said, 4.5. It's a watch. It's a watch. Maybe not such a must watch, but if you have a chance to go ahead and check out highlights on YouTube, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. All right, guys. So that was the end of the first segment. Now we're going to dive on into the second segment. Tonight is my Thursday night wrestling talk. We preview some of the episodes of Ring of Honor, also TNA Impact, have some hot takes, and talk in terms of TNA and Ring of Honor. So hey, do not go anywhere.